Jet, please, you're welcome.
Okay, so we spoke in Swahili, so for almost 80% of the time I didn't get
You
it.
can even speak French, no problem.
Yes, so the question is regarding data governance and all. So I think one of the biggest challenges we have here in Africa is that we were thrown into this data thing. Right. The first regulation we had was the GDPR. I'm pretty sure some of us are familiar with the GDPR. And then my brother from China said we're catching up. Right? And so because we're catching up, sometimes we just make laws and policies that, they're just placeholders. Those policies are actually not really working because we don't even have the mechanism to monitor it. I'm pretty sure that there's some organizations that are protecting data that even the leader of this organization doesn't even know next to nothing about protecting data. So I still feel it's not in its infancy, but regulation, especially in Africa, on data and data governance is in its infancy. So we need to level up our game. Customers also need, as my sister said here, in Nigeria we call everybody brother and sister. As my sister said here, customers also need to level up because the truth is once your information goes out, it's just like an egg. When you throw the egg down, it's broken and there's little you can do about it. There are a lot of fintechs, apps and all those stuff that they should have something called data deletion, but it's very, very impossible sometimes. You even request that your data be deleted, but they don't even delete it, or they even tell you that they've deleted it, and then one day you find that your data is on the database. How do we find out all these things? What are the regulators doing about my data audit rights? I don't know, okay, let's talk about YAS, for example. I don't know much about YAS, right? But can you meet YAS and tell them you want to audit the data that you gave them? How hard is it going to be? So those are the questions we should be asking. Is it possible? Oh, UBA, I've opened an account for maybe 5-10 years. Okay, I want to audit the information you have about me. Okay, I want to delete this information. I don't want this any longer. Sometimes the process itself makes it look like it's impossible. So these questions are the questions that the regulator should help us answer. Of course, I'll talk about Nigeria. Nigeria is really taking front seat on this kind of things. I don't know if we're familiar with multi-choice. Multi-choice, almost every time they get fined by the NDPC, that's the Nigeria Data Protection Commission. Even MTN have gotten fined before. Even Meta, that owns Facebook and Google, they have fines and they're currently in court in Nigeria about the way they handle our data. And so I feel like we shouldn't, as regulators, we shouldn't cower, we shouldn't hide from all these realities because if we don't take care of those things, citizens really can't do much about these issues, and that's what I want to say about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jet. I also picked one of the very important legislation that you spoke about, the GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation. I'm also convinced, sio wengi tunaifahamu, si ndio? But this is one of robust framework, which actually I think we need to benchmark even when we're building our homes. I think it's a EU-backed initiative, European Union, right? Yeah. Now, going to the foundation of trust in terms of technology governance and data, I'll pose a question to Engineer Leonard about blockchain. So blockchain is often described as a system that creates trust through code. Trust through code. In reality, can technology alone guarantee trust in digital finance? Or does it still depend heavily on institutional and regulatory oversight? What is your take on that?
Actually, I'll start by saying that technology creates transparency, governance creates accountability, governance creates confidence. So it's not only about technology. Yes, the platform, the infrastructure might be good, the technology itself might be secure and strong enough, speaking of blockchain, as you say, but if there is no clear governance, that comes with issues about policy, then there is no trust, there is no security. Because all these systems are also managed by people. systems are also controlled by human beings. And we know in ICT we have assets, we have hardware, we have software, we have data, and we have people. And people are the most vulnerable asset in ICT. So as we know that, we must also know that these people are the ones who control the technology and who builds the systems. So technology itself is not enough to ensure trust. Governance is, from I don't know, I think as we are speaking about policy, I think we should be, as I said in the earlier session, we should be thinking, strategizing, and making policies early on. The ideas fail. When we still have the idea, when we still have, we're still planning about the platform, still planning about the Fintech we're talking about here. So I'm developing an application, mobile money application for transaction. As you are creating policies, as you are strategizing at the beginning, you know policies will define what you're going to create. For example, we're speaking about data here. My fellow here, the last presenter said, the panelist said about something like data deletion. Do we really have this? Are they put in place? Like when I'm terminating my contract with you, I've been using your application, I've been using your system for a year, and now I no longer want to use it. Do you keep my data? Why are you keeping it? So these are all about policy. This is not about technology. The technology cannot create, we cannot just use line of codes to define something that was not earlier discussed. Developers only develop something that they are told, you know. If you use system architectures, use these designs and whatever to create something from what people say, from what people want. So the technology can be good, yes, but if we don't implement good policy and governance, that means there's no trust and there's no safety.
Asante Leonard, and to sum up what you have said, if technology alone is not enough, then the governance becomes central. That's what I've taken from you. And this response now builds to a question that I will ask Mr. Judge. If trust cannot solely rely solely on technology, what governance mechanisms do you think must fintechs and regulators prioritize to ensure digital systems remain secure, compliant, and resilient?
Okay, so I will take these questions from 3 areas. The first one would be infrastructure, right? So in Nigeria we have the NIBSS, that's NIBS, and then in Tanzania I guess there's TIPS, right? So I feel that TIPS is a very, very good way to monitor infrastructure, monitor how building works. Okay, you are plugging your API into something. Okay, let's look at this API. Let's secure this API. Let's look at the way your apps work. Let's look at how all these things happen. So first of all, infrastructure-based governance, such that if your software, if your APIs, if all those assets that you have, that you're trying to plug in and serve to consumers, if it doesn't comply, if it's not working, then we need to remove it. Another thing we need to look into, especially on this matter of trust, is that what happens if the system goes down? What happens if the system goes down? Who is supposed to come to the rescue? And in cybersecurity, we talk about something called redundant systems or redundancy, which means that there will be no time that a system, especially something as important as payment, should fail, and then we're waiting for 1 hour before the thing comes up back. Because during those 1 hour, or during that 1 hour, it's not even about the money that the financial institution is losing. What if there's someone who wants to pay an hospital bill and they can't pay because your system failed them? So you see, it's a matter of life and death. What if there's someone who needs to quickly send money to someone who is hungry? He can't send it because your system failed them. And so we want to make sure that all those things are there. Number 2 is board level governance. Now, it's very, very important that companies that want to enter into finance or into finance system, into payments, must govern, must take security very, very important. Now, if hitherto to now, before now, a lot of people look at security as IT issue. And you know, when people ask me, are you in tech? I say, yes, I'm in tech, but I'm not a tech pro. I'm part of the system. Security is not an afterthought, as my brother said here. Security shouldn't be an afterthought. It should be part of the body, so that things like background screening, cybersecurity background screening should be done for important personnel in the organization. So, for example, someone is CTO, someone is CFO, someone has a very important role in the organization. Aside from the regular background screening, for example, in my company, what we do, one of the things we do is to make sure that we have an ongoing background screening for you. We look at what is happening with your email, whether your email has even been, maybe it's on the dark web for the past how many days and nobody knows about. So stuff like that. And then number 3 is vetting infrastructure before you can plug them into the system, right? You as a company, before you marry your API to the API of another company, that company does their own cybersecurity risk assessment on you. And not just one off, they keep on doing it because it's just like COVID, right? If I get it, the next person gets it because we are building an interoperable system, right? System that connects. So if I get the virus and I'm connected to you, obviously the next person gets the virus and then the next person gets it and the next person gets it and then the entire system is full of virus. So any builder that is here, you're building something in fintech, in finance, in insurance, in credit scoring, credit rating and all, you must know that the resilience of this entire system is actually on you, because if you fail, the whole system might even fail because you have failed. And so that's the reason why we ensure that. And then the last thing is consumer protection and trust. A little history here. The concept of money, as it were, didn't start as paper, right? Paper basically is just like a promise that when you get to the bank, you'll be able to collect this value in gold. Of course, that was then, but after all those things changed. The point is that if I put my money into a financial system, if I put my money into your mobile operator, if I put my money into Safaricom, into Vodacom or whatnot, I must have the assurance that I will find it there when I need it. Because that's the reason why everybody is putting their money inside it. Because if you feel like I'm going to put my money somewhere and I'm not going to find it, I will never ever put my money there, especially being in Nigeria. I won't put my money there, right? So, what is going to happen if they don't find their money? Because these are regulatory questions we ask. In Nigeria, if you put your money into an investment and the money goes, as long as that investment is secured by the NDIC, you can get your money back. Another thing is this: how long does it take for me to get settlement for a dispute? I make a dispute on a transaction, like, okay, maybe I sent money to someone and then the person happened to be a scammer. What is my fate? Will the question be go and lodge a complaint at the police station? No. In Nigeria, we currently have a system where within 72 hours, you can actually ask for that money back. It's fraudulent. And you can get your money back even without asking the person. So that even if it was not a fraudulent transaction, the person goes to the bank and says, I had X amount in my bank account. What happened? Oh, somebody reported it as a fraudulent transaction. Okay, come and prove that it's not a fraudulent transaction. So that if you are a fraudster, of course, you don't want to go to the bank to make that kind of complaint because they will just arrest you and take you where you're supposed to be, right? So I think because we need to have those kind of things there, so that even if I am of the opinion that this thing is not, I'm not very, very sure whether this mobile